Hey, good morning. I got an email just this morning from a friend of mine. He's sending me the document, a pretty large PDF file with like 10 pages or something explaining the functionality of the application he wants to create. And he's asking me, how much would that be? How much is the price of that application? Approximately. He's asking me to estimate, to maybe not give him a quote specifically, but potentially he wants a quote from me to know how much Zerocracy would charge for that. And I don't know what to answer. This is the typical situation, a typical problem, which happens to me so many times with many friends around me, many people who know me. They come to me sometimes and ask, how much would that be to develop that piece of software? And every time I'm asking them a counter question. How much do you think, guys, would it be to develop a Twitter application or Facebook application? You know, Twitter is a huge, large monster company, and the software, piece of software, many pieces of software. So how much would that be to develop that monster? $1 million, $10 million, $1 billion? Not at all. When Twitter started, they spent probably a few weeks of work for just a few programmers, and they created an application which started to work. How much would it cost me, time-wise, to develop an application like Twitter? It's a simple application. You post your message and your followers get the messages from you. It's easy. It's just timeline of messages. It's primitive. The first version, the skeleton, the proof of concept, it's a primitive application. But then it starts to grow and it becomes larger and larger. And now it's a monster app because you need filters, you need administration panel, you need some dashboards, you need some ads, you need some control, some fraud filtering. A lot of functionality goes on top of what they created initially, spending just a few days or maybe a few weeks with just a couple of programmers. So when you ask me how much would it cost for you to develop an application which will be the core component of your technical business, of your startup, I cannot give you an answer. I can't give you a quote because it may cost just a few $1,000s and just a few hours of work or a few days of work, up to a few millions or maybe $1 billion in the end. So don't ask that question from a programmer. Ask many other different questions, but not that one. Don't ask for a quote if you are interested in developing something big. If you need some small tool which really needs to be developed in a few hours or maybe a few days, in that case you may ask for a quote, like how much would that script cost me? $200. Okay, deal, do it for me. But if it's an application which is described on 10 pages on a PDF file, then it cannot cost a few $1,000s when it's done completely on the market. It will cost you millions. But of course, you're not ready to hear that large numbers. You want some specific quote, and you go around the market asking different companies how much they would charge you for that application. And then you put all these numbers in front of you and decide, okay, I would go with this one who is the cheapest quote. But that's just not the right way to compare software companies, because all of those quotes are at the same time right and at the same time wrong. They are all numbers which just explain how much that company would take from you. It's not the real cost of the application. Ask different questions, and there are many other questions which you need to ask software development companies to understand which one of them is the better. Ask them how much they charge per hour. Ask them how much of the code they can deliver per hour. Ask them how many programmers they have. Ask them what happens when they lose programmers, when, where, and how soon they will be able to find new programmers. Ask them about the maintainability of the code, how long the code will survive after they change programmers or teams or technologies. Ask them those questions. Investigate them, but don't compare numbers they give you, because all those numbers, they mean nothing. They're just numbers. The only reason why you would ask that question, how much that software should cost, is to understand whether the software developer is a professional one or not. If they give you the number back, they're trying to fool you or they don't know what they're talking about. If they come back to you with the explanation like I'm giving you right now, telling you that we cannot quote, we cannot estimate because it can be from a few $1,000s to a few $1 million, that's the company you should work with. So if they come back to you with a specific number, like a friend of mine just told me, another friend told me a story that he wants some application, some software to develop, and he knows that somebody already told him it's going to cost $200,000. What do I think about that? What do I think? These guys are trying to fool you. That's what I think. Because 200,000 or 2,000 or 200 million, they're just three different numbers, which at the same time all correct. All of them are correct. They just need to be attached to the right stage of the software life cycle. That's it. So don't ask for a quote, or do that just to test the software developer, just to understand that they are professional and they are ready to come back to you and explain that there will be no number. They can give you many other indicators, metrics, parameters of their business, but not the specific number about your project. In that case, that's a professional developer. But if they come back with a number, don't work with them. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.